Hi, my name's Terry Levinthal. I'm the director of the Cockburn Association, and with me I have Cliff Hague. Cliff is a Professor Emeritus of Planning and Spatial Development at Heriot-Watt University. He's past president of the Royal Town Planning Institute and the Commonwealth Association of Planners. He is the patron of Planning Aid Scotland, past chairman of Built Environment Reform Scotland, and of course, most importantly, he's the current chairman of the Cockburn Association. Welcome, Cliff. Good to have you on our video blog. I guess the one question I really have for you is, with this COVID lockdown and the crisis in front of us, what are the implications for planning in this city?
Well, I think there's many, and of course it's difficult to be sure in respect of any of them. What seems very likely is that the strong surge of development that has driven Edinburgh over the last decade has clearly come to an abrupt halt, and how the city recovers from that is going to be the central question. We know, for example, that construction has been a sector particularly hard hit during the current crisis. We know that tourism has virtually stopped. We know that non-food retail has come to a halt, and all of these things have been, significant part of the picture in Edinburgh. We need to think how each of these might recover and what role planning and development might play to that recovery. I think one concern I have is that understandably at the moment the Scottish Government has introduced a number of measures to try to ensure that at least the planning process keeps ticking over during the immediate crisis. But my concern would be that the calls for recovery will be accompanied by strong calls for some sort of continuation of temporary measures, such as, say, extension of planning permissions, essentially duration for planning permissions on development, or even possibly further restrictions on public access, for example, to meetings, or greater delegation to officers. All of these things are entirely understandable in an emergency situation, but there's a risk that we tip into a post-emergency where the continuation of such measures are seen as steps towards recovery, whereas real recovery would actually be about thinking more fundamentally about the way that the city is planned and managed.
Mm-hmm. The United Nations, with its Sustainable Development Goals, which of course you've been part of and helping formulate, made the comment that actually the fight for sustainability will be won or lost in our cities. Do you think that that's actually a calling card that should be pushed forward at this time?
Yeah, I think it's really essential because, as I say, my concern is that there will be a kind of easy fallback to an assumption that the only way to speed recovery will be to put on the back burner, almost literally, concerns like the climate emergency. Whereas these remain very significant threats that are not perhaps directly there today for people in Edinburgh, although they are in other parts of the world, but are certainly things that we should not be ignoring. So I think it's very important that there is a strong narrative about a form of recovery that puts the climate emergency quite central there and sees the way that we plan and develop our cities as being part of that recovery process and part of the process of contributing towards tackling the climate emergency.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Cliff, for your time and input. This is the Cockburn Association with our Cockburn Conversations. We hope you found that interesting. If you're following this on social media, give it a like, pass it on to your friends, and have a look at our website for further information. That's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.